जलसाए सालाना के सामान के दिन है, अल्लाह से कुछ वादो पैमान के दिन है.
It's been great to have wonderful guests with us today, and we will continue that with more guests, as in fact we're going to have people talking with a personal account of attending Jalsa. This is what for some Khuddam here in the USA did when they actually went and saw Hazur actually just a couple of months ago.
बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम. हम दोबारा यहाँ खुश आमदीद कहते हैं आपको MTA इंटरनेशनल के USA स्टूडियोज़ में. अल्लाह ताला के फज़ल से जलसा सालाना का प्रोग्राम जारी है और MTA स्टूडियोज़ में हम अल्लाह ताला के फज़ल से मुख्तलिफ़ मेहमानों का इंटरव्यू कर रहे हैं और उनके तासुरात आप तक पहुंचा रहे हैं. अभी हमने नायब अमीर नाइजीरिया को सुना और हमारे एक नए तालीफ़ करने वाले, किताबें लिखने वाले कासिम रशीद का इंटरव्यू हमने सुना अदनान. और अब हम डॉक्टर अहमद चौधरी की तरफ जाते हैं जो उन खुद्दाम से बात करेंगे जिन्होंने इस इमसाल सैयदना हज़रत खलीफतुल मसीह ख़ामिस अय्यदहुल्लाह ताला बिनस्रिल अज़ीज़ से मुलाक़ात का शर्फ़ हासिल किया इंग्लैंड में जाके, और फिर उस बाबरकत मुलाक़ात के जो उन पर रूहानी असरात हुए हम उसकी तफसीलों से जानेंगे. डॉक्टर अहमद चौधरी, अस्सलाम वालेकुम.
And as was mentioned, we were there was a group of Khuddam that made a very historic trip to London for the sole purpose of visiting Hazur. And in this segment, we'll be discussing with two members of Majlis Khuddam al-Ahmadiyya USA who attended that trip and get a little sense of what that experience actually was. Over or close to 200 Khuddam from the United States, throughout the United States, California to Texas to New York, traveled as a group all the way to London for the sole purpose of visiting Hazrat Khalifatul Masih. So I'm joined here by Dr. Ahsan Khan, Walaikum Assalam, and Abdul Hai Thomas, Walaikum Assalam. I'd like to start off by, Ahsan, if you could tell us a little bit about what motivated you to actually go on this trip.
Sure, Jazakallah. You know, the trip was historic and it was a manifestation of the love that Hazur has for Khuddam al-Ahmadiyya. That's the way we perceived it. It was a loving gesture, an invitation from His Holiness to the members of Majlis Khuddam al-Ahmadiyya USA and Canada. And it was an invitation directly from Hazur, and it touched our hearts, and we tried to make it possible, make every effort to heed the call of our beloved Khalifa, and that was my motivation, the invitation extended by dearest Hazur.
Right. But Abdul Hai, in terms of some of the benefits that you personally reaped from this trip and others that you may have encountered, other Khuddam, what were some of those kind of tangible benefits that that actually left you after the trip was done?
Well, Jazakallah, when we were there, when you spend time with Hazur and with brothers from MKA, you're in a constant state of reformation in regard to how you offer salat, how you offer greetings to each other. So that was a very important piece. And it was something that we were able to bring back with us. It was something that was tangible. And you see Hazur's efforts every second of every day and every moment that he spends conveying Allah's will. Just spending that time with him, you have no choice but to follow that and align your speech and intentions and your actions to his. That was a very tangible benefit.
Right. And I think the main purpose was to actually have that mulaqat with Hazur. And close to 200 of us packed ourselves in a room.
Yeah.
And Dr. Ahsan, if you can just describe what that experience was, the actual mulaqat with Hazur.
Yeah, it was an incredible experience. Ahmed Bhai, you were there, Abdul Hai was there. It was surreal, and it's obviously etched in our memory. Even with my brothers today, we were talking about it. So the way it went down, there were all of us 200 Khuddam in a room with Sadr Saab. We didn't know what to expect. We were just told that Hazrat Saab would meet us. And to our surprise, Hazur instructed every Khadim, all 200 of us, to stand up, introduce ourselves, our professions, and in which capacity we serve the Jamaat, one by one, all 200 of us, followed by a question-answer session. It was very touching. He gave every single one of us precious moments in isolation with him, but also with our brothers. That was something beyond our wildest expectations. And each of us came out of there with our own unique experience.
And Abdul Hai, some of the advice that Hazur presented to individual khadims was obviously meant for the larger group as well. What were some of those things that Hazur mentioned in terms of advice that you remember?
Well, one of the brothers asked about marriage. You know, he said, beloved Hazur, do you have any advice for Qudam who are married or are gonna get married? And you know, Hazur gave us a very tangible piece of advice. He said, if you see your spouse doing something that you do not like, close your ears, your eyes, your mouth. He said, if you see your spouse doing something that you do like, open all three. And that was something very simple, but it was also extremely tangible, you know, that you could take home, you know, and implement in your household, but at the same time, it was something that you could implement with just your neighbors, with your brothers that you were on the trip with.
Right, right. Asmai, there was a question that you asked during the mulaqat as well. Can you elaborate on what Hazur said and kind of the question itself?
Sure. This was pertaining to the rain, prayer for rain. Yeah. So the day prior to our mulaqat with Hazur, he delivered a Friday sermon at Batul Futuh, which we had the opportunity to attend. And in that Friday sermon, in part of the sermon, Hazur talked about or gave anecdotes of villages in Africa, in West Africa, where the local missionary performed Salatul Istisqa, the prayer for rain in a time of drought. And it rained after that, and there were many people who accepted Ahmadiyyat as a result of that. It was a very moving anecdote. So it got me thinking that perhaps the drought in California, which we were all facing, perhaps that's an opportunity to ask Hazur if it would be feasible or permissible for us to do something similar when I go back to Los Angeles. And Hazur acknowledged his understanding of the drought in California, and he basically gave the instruction that yes, you should go back and inform the Jamaat to do this, invite members from other faiths to observe this, and your local imam should lead that. Long story short, we followed Hazur's instructions, and we have performed 2 Salatul Istisqa events, one within our Jamaat and one where we invited members from other faiths to attend. And we've had historic levels of rain after that. It's really faith inspiring. It's really a blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and it's really a blessing of Khilafat. So this was just one of many examples of people who came away with tremendous blessings from that mulaqat.
Alhamdulillah. And in wrapping up this session, Abdul Hai, can you describe in one word that whole weekend, what it felt like and how it was?
The word that I always refer back to is something that Jamil Gwari Sahib talks about, that when you have a Jalsa experience or any experience, it's like Eid. So that's the word that I would describe it as being. It was very inspirational. You were also challenged and supported to reform yourself on a moment-to-moment basis, which was extremely important. It was also, you know, very important that we were operating on a higher spiritual frequency, and you know, just the brotherhood with each other, and also just once again seeing the dedication and the service and the obedience of Hazur to Allah. You know, that's something that we can emulate and replicate.
Jazakallah, and those are just very inspirational type of stories. What we'll do now, and you've heard some amazing stories, and there's a lot more out there. There's a video that was made specifically on this event, and there's lots of pictures online that really show the brotherhood of not just MKA USA, but also within the MKA Canada and MKA UK.
अल्लाह से कुछ